being built in Quebec, especially for cannabis, is extremely important because we actually have one of the lowest costs of electricity in the country. We work directly with Hydro-Quebec, which is the provider of electricity in exclusively for Quebec, and we have economic development agricultural rates for the next 7 years at 3.5 cents a kilowatt.
This is Spotlight Media, the podcast. I'm your host, David Flores, and today I'm bringing on a new guest here to the show. He is Nick Sosiak. He's the CFO of Cannara Biotech. You can find them on the TSXV under the ticker symbol LOVE, Love, and on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol LOVFF. And so with that, Nick, it is a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me, David.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, and looking forward to talking a little bit about Cannara Biotech here. And as I usually like to do here with first-time guests on the show, I'd like to give them an opportunity to bless us, if you will, with their elevator pitch to give us an idea of who the company is. So if you wouldn't mind just jumping right into the elevator pitch for Cannara Biotech, it'd be a great starting point for us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So Cannara Biotech, we're a licensed cannabis producer based out of Quebec. We've been in business since 2019. We own both two mega facilities built in Quebec. Together, they measure over 1.6 million square feet of production capable square footage of cannabis production. And being built into Quebec, being built in Quebec, especially for cannabis, is extremely important because we actually have one of the lowest costs of electricity in the country. We work directly with Hydro-Quebec, which is the provider of electricity in exclusively for Quebec, and we have economic development agricultural rates for the next 7 years at 3.5 cents a kilowatt. Which translates to a huge amount of savings when you're trying to scale up cannabis production, and basically transfers and Cannara is all about providing premium grade cannabis at scale at affordable pricing. So we're trying to hit all three check boxes, which to create the ultimate value proposition. And we're one of the first few companies out there that's proven to scale up. So our main hybrid greenhouse that we use, and we're converting each room into an indoor facility. It has 24 zones. Each 24 zones measures 25,000 square feet and can put about 10,000 plants. We're currently right now in 7 of those zones, which is just over 175,000 square feet of actual canopy production. So we probably have about 80,000 to 90,000 plants currently in our facility, and that we're processing. We're turning into dried flower, pre-rolls, concentrates, live resins, rosins, hash, all kinds of products. And that's I think the differentiator factor for Cannara is management's super passionate, and all hands on deck is involved in the day-to-day operation. I'm the CFO, but I'm the brand builder. I hunt the genetics. I'm IR, PR, operation management. I know the facility inside out. And our CEO is actually our master grower. He is in the operation day in, day out at both facilities, making sure that we're growing the best cannabis that we can and growing it at scale in a methodical way, so that we don't, hit up road bumps in the future. So if we're able to scale up properly, we're able to make, healthy gross margins. We're able to put a EBITDA. We're able to generate free cash flows in an industry right now that's been shaken up by a lot of other players right now. So we're fighting against all odds, and yet we're showing resilience, we're showing strength, we're showing growth. While all the other guys are closing down shops, downsizing production space, I'm opening production space, I'm only in two markets here in Canada right now,
Okay.
two main markets, and then two markets that I'm currently working to enter. So eventually, by the end of the year, I'll be in four markets. But that just gives me confidence that I have the tools in our distribution network to keep opening, because we're choosing not to go into the markets because we don't have enough production capacity to enter that market yet. So we're just catering slowly each market, ensuring that we're gaining market share. So, we're number three in Quebec. We're climbing up the ranks to top 10 in Ontario. And we're working on BC and Alberta. Our license is our facility is licensed to for international export, so we have that card to play too. Um, and I think with all that factors, once you're creating the best cannabis, you're creating brands. Our three brands are Nugs, Tribal, and Orchid CBD. You create brands that are transparent, that fit all these white spaces for the
Yeah.
consumer, but don't concentrate on price, because the industry's already in a price compression war, and it's dog eat dog price. So we're just giving you the best product you can get at the best price that we can provide to you across all three brands, filling different white spaces through each brand, scaling up, generating profits. So the only thing that we need right now is time, because unfortunately, we could turn on all 24 rooms tomorrow, but there's a process to grow cannabis, and harvest it and cure
Yep.
it properly and hang dry it and get all the people to hand trim it. So it's a process, and we don't want to rush it. We haven't rushed it to this date, and we feel like we have the time to continue to scale up because the financials are already healthy, the business is healthy, and just every room that we turn on slowly, we're able to manage it, we're able to distribute it, we're able to increase our revenues, our EBITDA, our bottom line, and ultimately really grow to be Canada's biggest, largest cannabis producer.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, a little bit of the financial, health here of the company, and of course also mentioning finding success in a challenging marketplace, and that's something that Cannara has done quite well here recently. And so, I want to touch on this because I know this is one of the things that we want to focus on here in this conversation today, and that is, the fact that the company did recently release its fiscal first quarter 2023 financial results for the 3-month period ended November 30th, 2022. I'm going to read off a couple of highlights from that, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of dissect and elaborate a little bit on them, help us understand a little bit of it as well. So in Q1 2023, the company reported revenue of $10.3 million, which represents an increase of 56% compared to Q1 of 2022. The company also recorded gross profit before fair value adjustments of $4 million, which is an increase of 34% compared to Q1 2022. And the company delivered the company's 7th straight quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA of $1.7 million, which is a 72% increase compared to Q1 2022. So those are some pretty impressive highlights. There's no question about it. I want to give you the opportunity now, help us understand how all this sort of translates into the financial health here of the company and helping to really create a foundation strong enough to continue to grow and thrive in an otherwise challenging marketplace right now.
Yeah, David. I mean, you said it. It's clearly we're building the foundation right there. It's in white paper, public availably to everyone to see. It's we're not losing money, we're not burning cash. Every cash we decrease from cash. But if you look at how much I invested in my capex into my building that we own, it's 100% of the cash that that went down, right? So we in 2021, June was our transformative month when we acquired the Green Organic Dutchman's purpose-built cannabis facility. It was over $300 million of construction costs that they built in Quebec. It was a mega project. It was a huge industry project. And unfortunately, or fortunate for us, in June, things didn't happen the way they wanted it, and they had to sell the building. And we were the fortunate acquirers of the building for $27 million.
Mhm.
So we had a huge savings where that was our transformative year. We got that asset, we owned that asset for 10 cents on the dollar, less than 10 cents on the dollar, with this agricultural development rate, with this, ability to organically expand, our SOPs, our way of cultivating cannabis, which is proven to thrive in the market. Like the feedback that we get for cannabis, we're just hitting all the
Mhm.
pieces of it because we're taking our time. Um, we're following that craft-like way of growing and post-harvesting cannabis, but in a huge scale. So it's really resonating with customers, and that's every quarter that I'll go by, I'm only in two markets, so I'm able to build more markets. I'm able to increase my market share. I'm able to create new SKUs. I'm able to bring to market new genetics with our partnership with Exotic Genetics. I'm able to get into new provinces. So, this just shows that we're financially healthy. We've every quarter that goes by is looking in the rear view mirror and just making sure that we're achieving our plan, which is to turn on all those 24 rooms as our phase one. Then there's much more to do after
Yeah.
that. We have a phase two to build also. There's international markets, there's US markets. But for phase one, about 2 years on activate our 24 rooms, and get all that cannabis to Canada, targeted to Canada, we believe will carve out a huge market share for us and lead us to number one, and then that will help us propel through some through some partnerships, help us propel us into the U.S. And a solid Canadian brand is now coming to the U.S. And I think
Yeah.
there's a story to tell that we're going to be the only ones that have scale. Like in the U.S., no one has scaled that much in a regulated market, right? Everything was piecemealed by state. For us, we were able to build this huge operation at scale. We got the money, so we were able to build this, which there's not many other players like us, and that we built that internal knowledge, right? The biggest fail of the industry, unfortunately, is people, business owners relying on consultants and expertise, hired help in this industry when unfortunately no one has that expertise. No one can
Yeah.
confidently look at you and call them a consultant because you might have been doing it for 20 years in your backyard or in a small 10,000 square feet, even a 40,000 square feet. But now we're at 175 next year, 2020, August 2023. I'm at 225,000 square feet of canopy. And then I'm on track to go to 600,000 square feet of canopy, right? So not many people have that experience of scaling up cannabis production. And the grow is one part. Scaling up the grow, it's copy pasting sometimes, and it's management of genetics and figuring out what works and what doesn't. But the biggest challenge is once you grow that good cannabis is processing it, right? Taking care of it delicately, trimming it, drying it, and making sure that quality that you grew and you spent 4 months
Mhm.
to grow is translated to the customer's hand, right? And that's something that is scalable. Is definitely scalable. We've proven it, and it just takes a bit more time.
Yeah. What I want to highlight here real quick is because I think this is a great opportunity to highlight this is what you're really doing is you're creating the blueprint, if you will, for a high quality product, but it's consistency as well. And it's creating brand recognition. And I think that's something that's still kind of, missing in the cannabis space right now. You've got a lot of brands, a lot of companies producing product, but there's no Coca-Cola, in the space. There's not that one, that one brand that everyone looks to as like, that's the brand. But I feel like what you guys are doing with Cannara is you're kind of creating the blueprint to create that high quality brand that everyone looks to and recognizes as, hey, this is the shit that I get to get my hands on because I know what I'm getting. every time I get it, and I know that it's top quality. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I think it's important to highlight, what you guys are really doing here to create that brand recognition.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Coca-Cola of weed is definitely an objective. Uh, I think that's exactly it. We've taken a lot from the industry, from the US industry, and understanding what the guys did over there and what's happening here in Canada. We see that the consumers want that culture, there's a certain unique culture about cannabis. There's a certain different consumption habit of cannabis, right? It's not like alcohol where you're consuming the same genetic or the same brand of whiskey or in
Yeah.
alcohol, you stick to your Jack Daniels, you have your preferred drink, and I mean you can be on that for the next 20 years, right? In
That's me with
cannabis,
Jameson, by the way. That's me with Jameson.
but let,
Yeah,
let
so I
me
get
ask you
it.
about cannabis. You're not
Yeah.
smoking the same genetic even
Yep.
yesterday what you smoked yesterday, right? And that's just a trend that I keep seeing and seeing, and it's been like that forever. So I don't see that trend changing just because of the millions of possibilities that are available with cannabis, right? Because of the look, the appeal, the smoke, the trichomes, the effect on your body, the look of it. So there's so many different combinations that make the experience unique. And even if you smoke the same genetic today and tomorrow, you might feel differently, and you have to evaluate that. And so there's so many different experiences that lead to consumers wanting different
Hmm.
products. So now you're with that challenge where you're coming in and you know that customers want different products and may not be brand loyal because they're looking for the best, or they even if they find the best, they want something better. They think there's something better out there, and they keep going in that circle. So to hold customers to your brand is difficult. But if you understand that you control the vertical, you control the grow, you control the genetics, you make the menu, you make these genetics that no one else has on the market, right? Um, that's, I think, will bring customers to a brand house or a cultivator, which is Cannara, and then understand the three brands that we have. And then since we offer so much variety we're on a mission to get 20 to 30 different genetics across our brand portfolio, and then in 40 different formats. So you'll have the whole possible roster of everything you can imagine, and it'll take you probably a year to get through all of our products. And then in 6 months from now, we're already on to a new genetics, right? And keep it rotating that. So we have that flexibility because we can control the vertical, because we grow, which is, like you said, is very rare in the large scale setups. There's a lot of brands that are doing extremely well in cannabis, but they're not growers, right? They're not
Yeah.
fully integrated. They're a brand house. They're relying on partners, which is good, but it provides a lot of risk to your brand, and to continue to maintain that. There's a lot of risk to that. So in cannabis, we prefer, because there's that, it's a commodity, but once you go into premium cannabis, there's definitely a craft to it. And I think that, you know, if we mastered the craft way of doing cannabis and scaled that up as the norm, as the Coca-Cola norm,
Yeah.
then we should be the product that's on everyone's counter.
Yeah, and I think that's where you guys are headed. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you yourself and your management team there that you work alongside, you're all passionate about this. You're all passionate about cannabis. You're all passionate about this space. And I mean, you go far beyond the role of what a typical CFO is. I think a lot of people hear CFO, they think it's a guy that sits in front of an Excel sheet all day, crunches numbers, balances a P&L and all that stuff. I'm sure you do it, but
I do
behind
I do have
but
yeah.
but behind the scenes, you're doing a lot. And I think bringing that passion and just that knowledge is just like, it's so important, because I think it's what's going to separate you guys from a lot of other companies out there. So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about, the folks that you work with there, I mean, and the passions that you're bringing and how that's helping to create a very unique dynamic here with Cannara.
I mean, yeah, definitely one of our criteria is do you smoke weed?
Yeah.
Do you love weed? Because that age-old saying, when you do what you love, you know, I'm gonna screw this one up, but when you do
Never
what you
have to
love,
work
you
another
love
day
what
in
you
your
do.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, that one too. But when you do
Yeah.
what you love, you love what you do. So, um, that happened to me when I went from CFO of a real estate company to CFO of a cannabis company. Because yeah, accounting is all right. I'm good at it. I can hit the spreadsheets. I can pull up a financial statement in a couple of days. Um, but cannabis is my passion. Cannabis is what I can work till 4 o'clock in the morning and get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and do it again and keep doing that for, keep pushing that engine because it's fueled by passion. And I found that when you find others like that and you try to build that team of like-minded individuals that are like rowing the same direction, it's definitely hard to find those people and align with those people, but when you're exuberating a passion, the CEO and the CFO is exuberating this much passion. CFOs across all the business, CEOs in the garden every single day, watching the plants, this, that. The people that have, that will, that drive to succeed in business, and have a passion for cannabis, and then come see us, and we find them, they click, right, and they understand, and they work with us and they run with us. And so I have VPs across all my divisions, and they're my
Mm.
you know they're the generals of this, right? They're my eyes and ears on the ground. We're communicating. There's no silos in the company. All the information's being exchanged, shared, and we're just trying to all propel the company towards success. And it's a huge change when you have people that are passionate. I mean, the definitely the wheels are moving much more cleaner, smoother, with people like that.
Yeah, no question about it. I want to touch on something else here that you mentioned recently, just to see if maybe there's any updates to it. But I know that you mentioned in a recent press release that you guys did experience some temporary pre-roll manufacturing capacity challenges that impacted sales during the quarter. Just wondering if there's any updates on that, and how it's been kind of navigating through that challenge.
Yeah, so with growing cannabis, like I said, the challenge after is you grow the cannabis, but then you have to, if you want to maintain that consistency and quality, you have these super high SOPs and quality standards, right? So it takes time to scale up that when you have such a rigid program of,
Hmm.
my joints have to be 71 millimeters, 70 millimeters, right? Like I have a measure of my joints because I hate when a joint is shorter, and it's like it's too small, right? And that would affect the customer, and that customer gets it and might not buy it one day, right? So I'd rather take the extra time and labor costs to fix that and make sure that everything is perfect, to get that out to the market so that we can maintain that consistency that we're pushing out. So attention to detail is our forte, and that's kind of where when you grow all the cannabis, you get all this influx of cannabis, but then you scale that up, you scaled up the packaging part, but then you have to scale up all the transformative parts, which is, we do pre-rolls, we do butane extraction, we do solventless extraction, we make hash. Well, then those teams need to get increased, right? And you have to increase it there's a rhythm to increasing it, right? Because the products come out and there's a 3-month gap between when you plant the product and when you get a product
Hmm.
and when you're delivering products. So we just went through it, probably a month or two where we were getting all that product and learning how to best operate it and transform it and get that onto the shelves. And yeah, starting, we're still working on we've definitely upscaled our pre-roll production. We need to build an objective of 1 million pre-rolls per month. um that's currently our goal. And we I think when we're in that quarter, we're at 200 or 300,000 per month. So I think by February, end of February, we're going to hit that mark. We're very close to it, and keep escalating because the demand is there, and it's just trying to get all those pieces, that operational pieces, to move. And No, I'm happy to report January 2023 was our highest sales month ever.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, things are just going good, and there's definitely an operational challenge that you got to work with, and but everything is going as planned right now. So.
Okay, so just to circle back to some of the conversation on the financials and the financial health of the company, I know that earlier in the conversation we talked about some of the objectives and initiatives that you guys have laid out, that you're eyeing to accomplish here in the months ahead. And so, just curious, with that in mind, does the company have any plans on raising additional capital here to support some of these initiatives, or what's the thought process there?
Yeah, so no, in right now we're like I said before, we're EBITDA positive, free cash flow positive. We just reached 7 rooms. We have an objective of 9 rooms by the end of this year, our fiscal year, which is August 2023. And most of the capex spend was done in our Q2, which was pretty much in January and February, and in part of Q1. So moving forward, the capex spend is going to start slowing down, and then it's going to re-up in the next year. And our BMO, Bank of Montreal, is our biggest bank, is our financing partner. They provided us a $50 million debt arrangement, which we still have $10 million accordion on, plus another $5 million credit line. And so we have a bunch of other tools for us to gain cash if we need
Right.
to. But the business is generating cash. Capex is going down. Sales are increasing. We have financing, BMO backing us for extra cash reserves. So really, we're not looking to go to the equity market just yet. We really want to execute the story. We have a lot of shareholders that've been with us for a long time, has been through all the shakeup. We've been just focused and laser focused on execution. And there's another 2 years. We've never raised under 18 cents. So yeah, I don't see the need to.
All right, now that's great. And I know, a lot of what's happened in the last couple of years has been kind of, helping to fortify that foundation that you guys are under. And it sounds like, you guys have got a pretty strong foundation to work with now and to support the growth that I know you're focused on. And so, last question here, Nick, before we hop off, let's jump in our time machine here, and let's go into a year from now. Let's say we're sitting here. What are a couple of things that you want to be able to look back on in 2023 and say, all right, in 2023, Cannara was able to accomplish what?
First of all, if you have a time machine, please send it over, because I definitely want one of those. But for 2023, 925,000 square feet of canopy. That's over 100% increase from where we were in 2020. Sorry, if we were at 6 rooms in 2022, and we're going to be 9 rooms in 2023. So as a healthy increase that we're going to do on number of rooms and number of production capacity that we can churn out. And what else for 2023? We're just focused on opening market share and gaining market share. So we're in Quebec, we're in Ontario, just driving ham, making sure problem of putting products on the shelf, getting sold out, putting on the product, and then it takes another two product on the shelf with the distribution network. So now as we scale up, we can keep those stock shelves. We can have our marketing assets deployed. We can focus on Quebec. We can focus on Ontario. Basically open 2 new markets, or open 1 new market, Alberta, and concentrate also on British Columbia, which is our third market that we entered. And just keep that EBITDA positive track record, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep that going. Keep it escalating towards the up and up, and just keep releasing new products. Keep releasing new genetics. Keep releasing new SKUs. So in 2023, I'd like to see more SKUs, more production asset, more EBITDA, more revenues, more sales. And yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, well, the
It's gonna
fundamentals,
happen.
yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the fundamentals are there. I think you got it in place. And so, congratulations on the hard work and, getting to this point here where, like I said, I think you really got an opportunity to send this thing to the moon. I know you're starting with Canada first, trying to capture that entire market, but I think you guys are poised to do it. So again, Nick, congratulations. I hope we can touch base again here in the next few months, and look forward to having you back on the show.
David, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. See
Yeah,
you next time.
always. Thanks.